The following is an alphabetical list of topics related to the Republic of Ecuador. 0 to 9 EC Internet Country Code Top Level Domain for Ecuador. A. Adjacent countries: Colombia, Peru, Americas, South America, Islands of Ecuador, Pacific Ocean, Archipelago de Colón, Golfo de Guayaquil, Archipelago de Colón, Asociación de Scouts del Ecuador, Atlas of Ecuador, BC Cantons of Ecuador, Capital of Ecuador, San Francisco de Quito. Categories: Category Ecuador. Category Buildings and Structures in Ecuador. Category Communications in Ecuador. Category Crime in Ecuador. Category Economy of Ecuador. Category Ecuador Stubs. Category Ecuador Templates. Category Ecuadorian Culture. Category Ecuadorian Law. Category Ecuadorian People. Category Ecuadorian Society. Category Ecuador-related lists. Category Education in Ecuador. Category Environment of Ecuador. Category Geography of Ecuador. Category Government of Ecuador. Category Health in Ecuador. Category History of Ecuador. Category Images of Ecuador. Category Military of Ecuador. Category Politics of Ecuador. Category Science and Technology in Ecuador. Category Sport in Ecuador. Category Transportation in Ecuador Commons. Category Ecuador Chimborazo, highest mountain peak in Ecuador and the farthest point on the surface of the Earth from the center of the Earth. Coat of Arms of Ecuador. Communications in Ecuador. Cuenca. Culture of Ecuador. D. Demographics of Ecuador. E. Economy of Ecuador. Ecuador. Ecuadorian Space Agency. Ecuadorian United States Relations. Ecuadorian Painters. Equator. F. Flag of Ecuador. Foreign Relations of Ecuador. G. Galapagos Islands. Geography of Ecuador. Golfo de Guayaquil. Guayaquil, most populous city of Ecuador. Gulf of Guayaquil. H. Himno Nacional de El Salvador. History of Ecuador. History of the Ecuadorian-Peruvian territorial dispute. I. International Organization for Standardization ISO 3166-1 Alpha 2 Country Code for Ecuador. EC ISO 3166-1 Alpha 3 Country Code for Ecuador. AQ ISO 3166-2 EC Region Codes for Ecuador. Islands of Ecuador. JKL Latin America. Lists related to Ecuador. Diplomatic missions of Ecuador. List of cities in Ecuador. List of diplomatic missions in Ecuador. List of Ecuadorian artists. List of Ecuadorian painters. List of Ecuadorian provinces by area. List of Ecuadorian universities. List of Ecuadorians. List of Ecuador-related topics. List of football clubs in Ecuador. List of heads of state of Ecuador. List of high schools in Ecuador. List of islands of Ecuador. List of mountains in Ecuador. List of national parks in Ecuador. List of political parties in Ecuador. List of universities in Ecuador. List of urban parishes of Guayaquil. Topic Outline of Ecuador. M. Military of Ecuador. Music of Ecuador. N. National Anthem of Ecuador. National Congress of Ecuador. Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. O. Orellana Province. P. Politics of Ecuador. Provinces of Ecuador. Public holidays in Ecuador. Q. Quito, capital of Ecuador since 1830 and the second most populous city. R. Religion in Ecuador. Republic of Ecuador. S. Salve Patria. San Francisco de Quito, capital of Ecuador. Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere. Spanish colonization of the Americas. Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire. Spanish language. T. Topic Outline of Ecuador. Transport in Ecuador. Tropics. U. United Nations founding member state 1945. VW Water Supply and Sanitation in Ecuador. Wikimedia Atlas of Ecuador. Wikipedia Wiki Project Library of Congress Country Studies, Ecuador. XY